Honestly, where would we be without that leader, without that captain in that team? Where would this football club be without Bruno Fernandes? Honestly, where would we actually be? Good afternoon, guys. Welcome back to the channel, United Red Devils 20 on YouTube. Hope everyone's had a fantastic Sunday evening so far. Hope you're all looking forward to the end of this weekend, and I hope you're all looking forward to another brand new week in May 2023. First of all, do a massive favour for me, hit the like button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button if you're new to the channel. That is United Red Devils 20 on YouTube. Please subscribe to the channel and the community if you are new. Share the video. Hit the tweet button, hit the retweet button. Remember, put the notification bell on all times to receive dedicated content right throughout the rest of 2023 on United Red Devils 20 on YouTube. For more Fortnite content, Hogwarts Legacy, Kingdom Hearts 4, FIFA 23 Career Mode, Football Manager, Disney Speedstorm, and much more brand new stuff planned for the rest of 2023 on United Red Devils 20 on YouTube. So please subscribe to the channel and the community if you're new. Good evening to all you legends. Good evening to all you legendary people, and welcome to the reaction. The Premier League reaction between Manchester United and Aston Villa at Old Trafford this afternoon on match day 34 of the 2022-2023 Premier League season, concluding Manchester United 1, Aston Villa 0. Manchester United have beaten Aston Villa at Old Trafford this afternoon. A vital 3 points towards Manchester United getting Champions League football, a vital 3 points towards getting top four this season, and hopefully in the next few weeks Manchester United will secure Champions League qualification. Manchester United will get top four, and hopefully now Manchester United could go on a long unbeaten run right till the end of this current Premier League season. And I'll tell you what, thank God for Bruno Fernandes. Without that goal today, we wouldn't get the win, we wouldn't get the 3 points, and we simply would be nowhere near top four, would be nowhere near Champions League football without Bruno Fernandes. And the crucial goal that he got today to get Manchester United the important 3 points to set us on the way to the win this afternoon. And that was very, very important for Man United to find a winning response in the Premier League this afternoon after the dismantling of the second half against Tottenham. Thank God Manchester United found a way. They found a response and they found a way to get 3 points, because I think the outcome of today's game would have been crucial between both clubs, because obviously Aston Villa have been doing very, very well this season in the Premier League. Obviously could get European football for next season. Manchester United are trying to keep pace with top four. We're trying to keep pace with Newcastle, and we're trying to stretch the gap between Fulham, Brentford, Brighton, Tottenham, Aston Villa and Liverpool for top four. And hopefully now with this win this afternoon, it will prove crucial for Man United to be in the UEFA Champions League next season, where in my opinion I think this football club belongs. I think the result today has put Man United on an upward step of recovery. Obviously the response against Tottenham, we've got that today, but winning 1-0 against a very, very well organised Unai Emery team, Manchester United have become the only team today to actually get a goal or a win against Aston Villa since Unai Emery took over at Aston Villa. And that was very, very crucial for Man United to find that win today against an Aston Villa team that, in my opinion, I think will get European football this season. I think Aston Villa have got the right manager. They've got the right set of players. And I think, Unai Emery is going to achieve great, great things at Aston Villa Football Club. And they're on an upward step of, Aston Villa being a European force once again in the Premier League, but also in Europe. And I think, Man United are very, very lucky to have had Bruno Fernandes in that team. I think, I do agree with Rio Ferdinand that Bruno Fernandes gets a lot of unfair criticism. He gets a lot of unfair, pundits and footballers and ex-footballers, pundits from several outlets that, Bruno Fernandes apparently isn't a good enough player. Apparently not a lot of people like his attitude, not a lot of people like his commitment or his desire, and not a lot of people really like him as a player as a whole. But, I think, Bruno Fernandes has sat down a lot of the haters today. I think he has sat down a lot of the criticisers, and I think he sat down a lot of the doubters as well, because I think without Bruno Fernandes in that team, that result is not possible today. I do believe that he's probably one of the best midfielders in the Premier League and in the world of European football. Obviously, he has scored his 100th career goal in his career as a player, and hopefully Bruno Fernandes is going on to achieve much more success at this football club as our leader, as our captain. And I think, without him in that team, I don't know where Man United would be this season. I think, he's the leader in that team. He's the captain. He's the role model. He's the inspiration. He's that player that can make some magic happen at any moment of time in the game that, Man United need the result from. And I think, Bruno Fernandes is one of those players that is going to become a legend at this club. I do believe that he's crucial towards Man United being successful for the rest of the season. And without him in that midfield today, I don't know where we would have won that game, because obviously if the goal wouldn't have gone in, and obviously it did go to VAR, which we know was very, very dubious why a goal of quality like Bruno Fernandes, seeing a goal nearly being ruled out by VAR, but lucky the VAR decision went the way of Manchester United to get the 3 points. Fernandes has got the goal, he's got the result that Manchester United won today. But the bigger picture is from today's game that you saw all the protest against the Glazers, against Sir Jim Ratcliffe, and what I've been told today that the Sir Jim Ratcliffe bid is very, very close to completion. It looks like Sir Jim Ratcliffe is going to be the new owner of this football club, and it looks like, unfortunately, the Glazers are going to stay. And I think, that's the only negative out of today's result, that the fans did the right thing by protesting. I applaud every single Man United fan for what you did today. I'm right behind you. I'm with you. I'm right by your side for the protests against the clowns that own this football club and the muppets of the ball that we also have at this team at Manchester United Football Club as well. I am right behind every protest. I am right behind every Glazer out movement. And I'm right behind every Ratcliffe out movement as well. I don't want Sir Jim Ratcliffe anywhere near this football club. That Glazer 2.0 snake of a Glazer that is wanting to buy this football club, basically wanting the Glazers staying, also basically saying they're great owners of a football club and they've achieved massive, massive success as owners at this team. I completely and utterly disagree. 18 years of bad ownership has derailed this club badly. We have fallen off a cliff since Sir Alex Ferguson retired, with manager after manager being sacked and manager after manager not being backed at any January transfer window or the summer transfer window as well. I do believe that these fans have got the right to do what they did today. We need to keep forcing these owners out. We need Sir Jim Ratcliffe to pull out of the bid. I don't want that snake anywhere near this football club, because 18 years has been bad enough. And if Sir Jim Ratcliffe's bid is successful, I'm not going to back it. I'm fully Sir Jim Ratcliffe out. I don't want him anywhere near running this football club. I don't want him running this football club into the ground. And I don't want another 10 to 15 years of this bad ownership continuing into 15 years' time, where we are still going to be in the same space where we are now, basically trying to survive with top four, trying to survive to get Champions League football and trying to somehow win a Premier League title again. I don't want that at a football club that I think, in my opinion, does deserve to be back at the top now. It's been far too long since this club won a trophy. It's been 10 years since we last won the Premier League. It's been nearly 15 years since we last won the Champions League. And it's been nearly 6 years this year if we don't win the FA Cup. And for me, that's simply not acceptable. And if the Glazers accept Sir Jim Ratcliffe's bid and they stay on as owners, I do believe this football club is in big, big trouble. I can't see where the success is going to come. And I do believe that if Erik ten Hag was to fail next season as manager, then it would be another managerial sacking. Another manager would then have to come in, another rebuild of the whole squad. And then Man United will be back to stage number one again under Rangnick and Solskjaer, when that all cluelessly went wrong, and Man United were 10 times worse under those clueless clowns as managers. And you know what? I think, if Ten Hag is to get this right, and if Erik ten Hag doesn't get the backing or the new owners that he wants, I would not blame Erik ten Hag if he walked away at the end of the season. You saw in that performance today that Man United were the better team in the first half. You saw against Aston Villa that we dominated the game, we dominated the possession, and we dominated the ball. Obviously, the Fernandes goal was crucial to get that halftime lead, to go into the dressing room at halftime to obviously somehow find a second winning goal to put the game away. But second half, yet again, it was the same response against Tottenham, that this squad simply cannot be trusted. These players are not up to the task, and I do believe the momentum is not on our side at the moment. Every time we take a lead in a game, we simply struggle to hold on to that lead. And obviously today it showed against Day that we've got no goal scorers in that team. We've got no attacking threat in that team. The defence is a disgrace. The goalkeeping situation has become a joke. And I do believe Aston Villa have come away with an undeserved point. So I do believe that if Aston Villa would have found the equaliser, they would have then gone and found on a winning goal. And I think if Aston Villa would have done that, it would have been another step backwards for Manchester United. And I think, getting this win today at this weekend, thank God they didn't ruin our weekend, because that would have been worse if they would have ruined it this weekend, not winning that game. Because if we wouldn't have beaten Villa, it would have said a lot about this football club. It would have said a lot about where we're trying to head. And it basically sums up that we've got a team here who are exhausted, fatigued, tired, but all those three things you can't use as an excuse. These Man United players should be fighting for every tackle, every pass, every ball, every shot, every assist. These players should be giving in 110% effort every single match that this football club plays in a competitive competition like the Premier League. And I think at the moment, those players are basically satisfied by scoring one goal and not finding a second crucial goal then to go and win the game. And I think that is going to backfire if Man United continue in the same way as that. I don't think this is the manager's fault. I do believe Erik ten Hag is trying to get the best out of what he's got. I do believe, and I look at that team now, is it good enough to challenge for the Premier League next season? No way. That team ain't good enough. It can't compete with Arsenal. It can't compete with Man City. And at the moment, we're only bearing on to keep lucky with Newcastle. And I do believe at this moment in time that if we don't get back to the summer transfer window, so Jim Ratcliffe comes in, no money will be spent. The debt will increase. The stadium will continue to rot. No new stadium, no new state-of-the-art training ground, no new state-of-the-art stadium either. And I do believe that the fans need to keep doing this every home game now. Massive, massive protest, and obviously away games as well. I think we've got to do more now that we hope that Sir Jim Ratcliffe's bid does not be successful, because if it does happen and he's the new owner, the Glazers will stay, the football club will fall apart even more. And that's the big, big concern for me, because I don't think fans and supporters will stand by this club anymore if Sir Jim Ratcliffe comes in. And I can't see the fans or these supporters standing by owners that have got the Glazers here in full control of transfer windows, full in control of the budget of what we can spend in the summer. And I do believe if that does happen, then expect Erik ten Hag to be gone next season, because this squad will down tools. The squad will basically say we're not good enough anymore, and the team will basically fall down to its knees again. Ten Hag will be gone, but the bigger picture is it won't be Ten Hag's fault. It will be the squad, it will be those players, and it'll be the mentality that this football club simply hasn't gotten. We're lucky to beat Aston Villa today. There's nothing to shine off that performance. In that second half, Man United were a complete joke. There was no attack. You let Aston Villa attack you. You let them have control of the ball. You let them have control of the game. And you basically let them have control of possession. And for me, a bigger picture, you should not be letting teams like Aston Villa come to Old Trafford, dominate you in the second half when you're basically winning the game. You're 1-0 up, but unfortunately you can't find a second or third goal from somewhere. And I think, that's not fair on Ten Hag. He's basically having to get the best out of what he's got. And after those players shouldn't even be in a Man United shirt, how dare players like Fred, Harry Maguire, Dalot, Lindelof, Luke Shaw, De Gea, Malacia, Martial get anywhere near of a chance in a Man United shirt again. I can't justify why subs like that are being made in that game. I do believe when I looked at that team today, I think, it was a big, big mistake leaving Antony on the bench. Another player that gets massively unfair criticism of pundits and ex-footballers who are no longer in the game, and pundits have got no clue how to, represent football on and off the pitch with their absolute obscene opinions and views, when half of them are a complete load of dog shit and they have no idea what they're talking about. Without Antony in that game today, Man United's form attack was simply nowhere near to be. Man United could have put Aston Villa to the sword if players like Antony would have been in that team, so that I couldn't understand why or justify the justification of why he was on the bench. Antony's one of our best players in the attack. He's been our best right winger for nearly decades, and basically gets the crowd and the fans off their seat with excitement on and off the ball. His skill moves, his possession, his speed. Antony creates several good opportunities for the players around him, and he can also put in a decent shot in the box with a decent cross as well. And I can't understand why he's been left on the bench. Has he got a knock? Has he got an injury? Or are we just trying to rest him because, the squad is having to play 3 games in 6 days again, which again is a complete joke. It's not fair on this club to have to be playing 3 games in 6 days where, we're having to keep going with the squad we've got. I do believe the squad is worn out. I do believe we're trying to, hurdle across the finish line. It's like that tortoise in the hare storybook where, the turtle is desperately trying to beat the hare and get to the finish line. But the hare, is nearly there, has a break, and all of a sudden the turtle then crosses the finish line and wins the race. And I think Man United are basically trying to limp over the line to get this season done, because I think the players are so tired and fatigued. But at the end of the day, if these players are tired, then they're clearly not putting in the effort I think the manager's looking for. I do believe that this squad has down tools before. It has got 5 or 6 several managers in the past sacked, and ended up Man United having to find another new manager again in 2-3 years' time. And I think, are we heading down that same direction? I do believe we are. I do believe that Ten Hag isn't getting the best out of this squad. And I do believe we're having to get out of a wimple for win to try and get the result that we're looking for. And I think that is down to the players. That is down to that squad to be performing in a Man United shirt. And I think those players should be lucky that some of them are still at this club, because some of them are not up to the level. Some of them shouldn't even be in a Man United shirt, and some of them shouldn't even be on that bench or even anywhere near the first team. And I think, yet again, Erik ten Hag's hands are tied behind his back. I do believe, he's having to, basically listen to what the owners and board tell him to do, and he's basically having to get by. And I don't think a manager Erik ten Hag deserves to be getting the criticism or the negativity that he's been getting off some of this Man United fan base and off some of these Man United supporters. I do believe he's the right manager. I do believe he's been our best manager since Sir Alex Ferguson. And I do believe he's a better manager than Mourinho, Van Gaal, David Moyes, Solskjaer, and Ralph Rangnick. And I do believe he's got a no-shit policy. He ain't going to take no excuses off that squad. But I think the excuses that squad come out with today is there's no energy left in the tank. And if there's no energy left in the tank, I'd love to know what is going on in those players' state of mind. Because if you're only trying to bury teams 1-0 and Aston Villa would have found that equaliser, I think this would have been a completely different match reaction than what I wanted to do today. But I'm still pinpointing that Man United on a point of paper are still not up there for consistency. I don't know why all of a sudden the goals have dried up. I can't understand why the forms of Rashford and Sancho didn't show again today when they were absolutely superb against Tottenham last Thursday evening. The midfield probably was our best midfield we've got at this club. You don't need players like Scott McTominay and Fred anywhere near this team, and you see the difference that is being made in that midfield with the quality of Casemiro, Bruno Fernandes, Marcel Sabitzer and Christian Eriksen. The quality those four brought into that midfield, we dominated that game so well in the first half. Man United were absolutely superb. But, the goals have dried up and the consistency is simply not in the players' DNA to find another goal and find the goals that we need to be able to get over the line. And I do believe that, unfortunately, I think that's going to cost this football club. I do believe that if there's not enough attacking power, there's not enough firepower, then Man United are basically leaping across the finish line by literally thick and thin. I do believe we're getting off across the finish line by the skin of our teeth because the results ain't there, the consistency isn't there in performances. And in the second half of games, it just looks like Man United look a completely different team from what they are in the first half. Are we trying to push too much? Are we trying to pressure the opposition a bit way too much? And are we, like in the second half, Aston Villa have come out that game. They've got nothing to lose in that second half. They know that they're still 1-0 down, and 1-0 down isn't a complete disaster. They know if they find a goal, it's an equaliser, it's a point they take away from Old Trafford, and it's another step towards a positivity in Aston Villa Football Club's direction. And I do believe that Unai Emery has been very, very unlucky today. If that VAR had given the goal offside, Fernandes wouldn't have had that goal today, and Man United would have been sat here with a 0-0 draw, because that says a lot about this football club, that we haven't got the players to do it every week. We haven't got the squad depth. We haven't got the players. We haven't got the team that I think this manager needs. I do believe he's being hung out to dry by clueless owners and a clueless board that simply have got no understanding of football. The fans and supporters have got right to be angry. I'm very, very angry the way this football club is being run. I don't want Sir Jim Ratcliffe anywhere near this club. But what still makes me very, very angry is that some of those Man United fans have gone and watched the game today, have gone into the shop, have gone into the mega store, have bought the shirt, have brought the kit, have put their favourite players and numbers on the back of their shirts. They've brought the scarves, they brought the flags, and they're still putting money directly straight back into the Glazers' pockets, which then is being taken directly out of the football club, heading in one way and then heading out the other. And I think that's unacceptable for Man United season ticket holders to be spending money on a club and going watching a club that is basically out of money, a club that is basically on its knees, and a football club that we're trying to sell that looks like is going to be an unsuccessful sale of a club that we're going to point another Glazer 2.0. It's in Jim Ratcliffe with the news. Apparently, he's got to borrow $3 billion just to buy out the football club as a whole. And if they accept Jim Ratcliffe's bid, I'm not going to stick around for the mess. I'm not going to stand by a club appointing another 2.0 Glazer snake in the weeds that is going to cause Man United even more crisis in the next 10 to 15 years. We will go 10 times back even further with an owner like Sir Jim Ratcliffe in charge, because he'll be making the decisions. There'll be no transfers in the summer, and don't expect much players to be brought in or many players to be sold, because at the end of the day, we've got owners who haven't got a clue. We've got a board that are very, very up their own ass. And if the rumours are true, Ed Woodward is going to get his job back if Sir Jim Ratcliffe comes in the summer and buys the football club. But I'm fully behind the Qatari bid. I think if the Qataris have got any cojones or got any balls to show, you're going to have to overbid and buy the football club. Just go and give the Glazers what they want. Go and give them 6, 7, 8 billion. I really do not care how much it's going to take to buy this football club, just go and give the clueless muppets that we've got in charge of this football club the money they want, so they sell the club and fuck off home, because if not enough is being done, the Glazers will run this club dry for the next 15 years again. And do Man United fans really want that? No, we don't. We don't want that mess next season. We don't want that mess in the next 18 years. And I do believe that, I think Erik ten Hag is here for the long term. I do believe that this is the right manager. But if he doesn't have the players and he doesn't get the backing, I think he deserves as a manager. Results against Aston Villa like this today, we're literally leaping up. We're literally getting to that finish line and crossing it by the skin of our teeth due to the no threat of goal scoring quality in that team. That team today on paper was probably our best team by far. But if you're looking at defence and you're looking at attack, you're putting Fernandes out on the right wing when he's not a right winger. You're playing 4 midfielders in one game when you could have played an extra attacker. And like I said about Antony, another unfair player that gets a lot of unfair criticism off pundits and ex-footballers who are no longer in the game and talk a load of crap out their mouth. And unfortunately, I think, Antony is still answering the critics. I think Antony is still not going to please people eventually. But at the end of the day, he's a very, very good footballer for this football club. He shows his heart towards the fans and supporters, and he absolutely gives his all. And a Man United shirt, and I can't understand why fans saying he was awful today. In my opinion, I thought he was one of Man United's best attackers in that second half. I think he made a world of difference out on that right wing. And like I'd come back to you on that, if you think Antony's shit, then what would you rather have on that right wing? Would you rather have Weghorst, Martial, or Alejandro on that right wing? And I think I know what my answer would be very, very quickly. That Antony would be my answer all day long, because at the end of the day, if you're going to criticise a great world-class player, in my opinion, who's going to be up there with Ronaldo and Messi eventually, why are you slamming his performances? Why are you criticising him when he doesn't deserve the criticism he's getting? At the end of the day, at least he's giving his all for a Man United game. At least he's showing his heart towards getting the fight and getting the result that this team needs. And at the end of the day, if we don't have Antony in that team, Man United would be nowhere near where we are today. We would be absolutely nowhere near top four, would be nowhere near Champions League. And I think, Antony has made that team a lot better with him in it than without him in it. And I think, he's answering critics still, especially from today. I thought he was one of Man United's best players in that second half, and I can't justify why Antony has been getting criticism when he's actually one of the best players at this football club by an absolute mile. And today against Aston Villa, yes, he did start on the bench. Maybe that was rotation. Maybe that was, maybe he has got a slight knock and we didn't want to risk it for the full 90 minutes. Or it was mainly tactical for Ten Hag to go with the 4 midfielders in that team. But at the end of the day, Man United have got across the finish line by 1 goal. And I think long-term, that is not enough to put teams like Aston Villa away, because I think if Aston Villa would have found that equaliser today, the confidence would have been up, the heads would have been up, and Aston Villa would have then gone and found on the winning goal. This game could have easily have ended in defeat today due to Man United's lack of urgency, attacking quality, and a lack of cohesion as a whole. I just don't think Man United that second half turned up. It was the Tottenham second half repeat all over again, and I can't understand why we are letting the opposition attack us in the second half when we're absolutely playing some blistering football in that first half. We're absolutely dominating the game and we're taking the game to Aston Villa. And all of a sudden we've come out for the second half and we're just letting them dominate. And I couldn't justify that too. That's the only criticism I've got. It's like we've won by 1 goal due to a midfield brilliance. But at the end of the day, if Villa were the better team in the second half, what is happening when we go in for half time? We're 1-0 up, comfortable and playing some fucking good football. And all of a sudden we've come out for the second half and we look nowhere near it. And it's like, what is being said in that dressing room? Because clearly something must be going on that we're not being told in the second half. Let the opposition attack us and we'll break them on the counter-attack. And I think as a whole, Man United need to be putting more teams like Aston Villa to the sword. If there's 3, 4, 5 goals to be had, Man United need to do it. We saw it against Everton. We saw it against Brentford in the Sevilla home game, the Sevilla second leg away game, the Tottenham game, the Forest game. We are not clinical enough, and I think that is going to cost this club. I think Man United can do a lot better with a lot better players if they're in that team, and unfortunately, we haven't got it. We haven't got the quality to do the damage that I think we all need. I think, Man United are getting out with a whimper at the moment, and I'm not seeing the same Man United I saw against Everton when we were probably one of our best games ever, but we still failed to put 2 or more goals past them. I think that was a repeat today. We should have won a midweek against Spurs. There was no excuse not to win that game today. And again today also, Man United won by 1-0. I mean, I'm not being funny. It's Aston Villa at the end of the day. They are We've got more games in hand than Aston Villa. We potentially can secure top 4 on Thursday night against Brighton. And if we don't beat Brighton, then that is down to, yet again, the same repeat against Villa. We need to go with the same intensity and the same attack in both halves of the game. That's the only way this football club will win games, if you put the ball in the net. And that what is the most important thing. You attack as a team, you defend as a team, and you come out on top and deliver the fans and supporters the results that we need, because we are so close to the season to being finale now. We're so close to the end of the season. Man United need to keep winning now to get top 4 mathematically secured, because we may be like 10 points clear of Liverpool, 9 clear of Villa and Spurs and everything, but we shouldn't really have to be relying on results around us just to get Man United back to where we should be. We should be winning our own games anyway to take the pressure off us from the next game and say, look, if we can beat Villa, you can beat Brighton on Thursday. If you can beat Brighton, you can then beat West Ham. Results like this carry on, Man United will be fine. But you can't keep scrapping for 1-0 wins and being lucky. Have we gone back to being Moments FC? Have we gone back to being Lucky FC? Have we gone back to being 1-goal show FC? Because at the moment, it just looks like that Man United team is lacking ideas. It's lacking creativity. Defensively, we're very, very poor. The goalkeeping distribution from De Gea again today is laughable. And I can't justify that team looking on paper. I can't justify how we're actually winning these games when we dominate a first half of a game. And then all of a sudden, we drop off a cliff. We let the opposition attack us. And then all of a sudden, Man United are then on the back foot. And I can't understand why we are shooting ourselves in the foot by letting that happen in several of our last few games. We are playing so well in the first half of the game. We saw it against Tottenham. We go in 2-0 at half time. In the second half, Man United totally collapsed. And it was the same again today. We dominated the game in the first half. We should have put 2, 3, 4 goals past Villa in the first half. That game would have been done. The pressure would have then been taken off in the second half. And then Villa would have had no response, because if they're 3-4-0 down, even a consolation, they're not going to find 2, 3 goals to get the equaliser and make it 4-all game. And I think that's the big question that's got to be asked from the squad. Where's the creativity gone? Where's the ideas gone? Where's the ideas gone? And where is this club trying ahead with players that aren't consistent enough on the pitch again? And I think, again, it's due to the pure fact that I think there's uncertainty on and off the pitch, which is massively understandable. We've got owners who don't give a shit. We've got a board who are clueless. And we've got a manager who's been our best manager, like I said, since Alex Ferguson. And he's trying to get the best out of the squad that he deep down knows isn't good enough to compete with the likes of our rivals. And I think that's unfair on a manager that I think absolutely deserves another chance to be successful. And I think, at the end of the day, if Man United can do that every single week, there's no reason why not Man United don't win games. But we've got to keep winning now. There's no excuses from this team not to keep on winning. We've got to keep winning now. But I think, there is still a lot of improvement from that side that needs to be secured in the next few games. And I think if Man United can keep doing that, we should be absolutely fine. And there's no reason why not, we don't win our games. But United have got to do it consistently, week in, week out. I think that's the bigger picture from this game today. It is a huge 3 points, and it's huge for everybody. But at the end of the day, Man United have got to get the job done in 90 minutes. And I don't think we're doing it enough. And obviously, like Mr. Savage said in the chat, he's one of my... I'm going to make him a manager moderator and Urtex in the chat as well. Seeing the protest from today, it's because results been taken off the shine from it. It's down to the pure fact that we are so angry and so frustrated with the clueless owners like the Glazers who are running this club into the ground for the last 18 years dry. And all of a sudden was trying to sell the football club, but they're selling it to a Glazer 2.0. And unfortunately, when you've got a club like that trying to sell it to an owner who don't give one toss, I don't see where this club is going to head. Because if you look at the squad from today and you look at the players we've got available now, can Man United do that week in, week out? That's the bigger picture you've got to ask yourself. Can we do that week in, week out? And my big answer is it's no, because at the end of the day, this club has got a job to do. This club has got to get Champions League football to be able to attract the best players to improve this team next season. And like I said, if they're going to let 15 to 16 players go in the summer, then 15 to 16 brand new players have got to be brought in the summer. We need to spend a net of 600-700 million in summer to be able to compete with the rivals around us that, are going to sense the vulnerability for next season. Because if Ten Hag does not get back to the summer transfer window with the squad that played against Villa today, right? And we've got to go with the same set of players as well and the same squad. Every team that is in the Premier League next season, but right, we know Man United's vulnerable points. We know that team is weak, and we know how to break Man United down because they've not improved their team. They've not brought any new players, and the squad they've got is able to be broken. And teams around us will sense that vulnerability, and they'll be able to break Man United next season. And if you're looking at that team from today, there are players in that team, especially that back five, who aren't good enough. De Gea is not a good goalkeeper anymore. Malacia apparently was solid today. Completely and utterly disagree. Not good enough as a backup left back to Luke Shaw. Should have never brought him in the first place, and apparently he was one of our best players. Based on what? Based on making a few decent passes. I mean, that is not justified to be a man of the match contender. And it's the same with Luke Shaw. It's the same with Lindelof. Apparently, we're rarely both solid as a centre-back partnership today. I completely and utterly disagree because they are not good enough as a centre-back duo altogether. We are crying for Martinez. We are crying for Varane. Varane, I don't even know when he's going to be back from injury. Martinez is out injured for the rest of the season with a really bad ankle injury. You've got no Donny van de Beek, no Garnacho, no Tom Heaton. We've got so many players in that team that we are crying out for that we actually do to get this club across the finish line to be able to say it is a successful season. But there's always going to be a but with this football game. And the but is today they are getting across the finish line just about by scraping 1-0 wins like this. And I think if Man United were more clinical, they would see 8, 9, 5, 6, 7-0 wins to Man United, and the game would be so emphatic that Man United have done the job they've done and they've got the result they needed. And the optimism from today, hopefully that optimism and confidence will go into the game on Thursday against Brighton, who, like I said yesterday, ripped Wolves apart 6-0. Going away to Brighton on Thursday is not going to be easy, but we need to go there and win. If we can beat Brighton, top four's done. We have got Champions League football. We are back where we should be. But can Man United cope with Champions League football with this set of players they've got now? If we look at this, a club as a whole from today, and some of those players that shouldn't have even been in that team today altogether, Harry Maguire, your Fred, your Dalot, your Lindelof, your Shaw, your Malacia. The midfield was decent. Eriksen, Casemiro, Fernandes and Sabitzer, absolutely phenomenal 4 midfielders in that game today. Rashford was all right. Sancho was okay. It's the back four, the midfield, and still the attack because we've got no clinical number 9 that can put the ball in the net. Sancho, again, today fell off a cliff, and it's just... I don't know what to say. Like, has Jadon Sancho got a future here? With the rumours are true that he wants to go back to Borussia Dortmund and he wants to go back on loan. And I think, if Sancho does leave, we've got to replace him. If he does want to go back to Dortmund in Germany. Obviously, Rashford was brought off again today, yet again, due to an injury and due to a knock. Rashford goes off injured, in brackets, hashtag again. Antony Martial comes on, makes no difference up front with the ball. Can't find the goal that we need to finish Aston Villa off. And, that's a story of our season. We've got players that are so injury prone, so inconsistent, and we've got players like Marcus Rashford who are basically trying to play every game due to the fact the rest of the players around in the backups are shit. And I think that's a big question Ten Hag's got to think. If Rashford's injury is bad again, where's this club going to head towards the rest of the season without Rashford? Because if Rashford's not fit for the Brighton and West Ham game, our next 2 fixtures, we are not going to get top 4. We won't get Champions League football. We won't. Not without Rashford's goals, because Rashford is making that team what it is today. And yet he goes off with an injury and a knock. and was replaced by a lazy and arrogant Antony Martial, who is lazy on the ball, makes no decent runs like Cavani used to do when he was at this football club, and can't pass the ball to save his life. And then it's the same with Fred, a midfield, useless, arrogant, lazy footballer who shouldn't even be in that midfield three altogether. Is basically, we're literally clinging on our hopes to Fred. And it also goes down to Scott McTominay as well, who is still injured. I personally don't think Scott McTominay is in that team. I don't think he's injured, by the way. There is no way Scott McTominay is injured. And would he have been involved in it? I think he probably would have been. I honestly do think a lot of coaches put a lot of trust in the wrong players. And they're feeding that back to Erik ten Hag, saying, well, if you go with Fred and McTominay, they could do a lot more damage against the opposition. They have shown it over the last 3-4 managers. Fred and McTominay have been the liability in that midfield, and we're still using them today. And you can carry on doing that if you like Man United. But at the end of the day, you've got a midfield 5 dynamite in Bruno Fernandes, Casemiro, Eriksen, Sabitzer, and even Donny van der Beek. They are all better than Fred and McTominay. You sell Fred and McTominay, go and get a Bellingham, go and get a Frankie de Jong, or even a Ruben Neves, a McAllister. You get them in. You don't need useless Fred. You don't need useless McTominay. You don't need lazy players who don't want to put any fight in. We're better off without them. In the back four, like I said, we're missing Varane and Martinez. They're a big miss because we're the only club in the Premier League to have two World Cup winning centre-backs in our team. We're the only two that have got it. And if we look at the left back and the right back, they were all bloody awful again today. Dalot ain't good enough. Malacia ain't good enough. And nor is Luke Shaw. And apparently all those three had a game of their life today. I've seen the highlights and they didn't offer any attacking threat or defensive quality to be able to defend against the threat of an Aston Villa. They don't have it in their game to be able to deal with a fast attacking team that have got fast attacking players in their team. We could not deal with Aston Villa in that second half. We sat back and got lazy, got inconsistent, and basically said, you're not Aston Villa, we're going to let you do what Tottenham did to us. We'll let you attack us, and we're going to sit back, defend, and break you on the counter-attack. We can't keep doing that. That's the big question today. We are lying on our midfield to get goals because the front three goals have dried up. The defence offers no goals. And as for De Gea, it's a clean sheet. But apart from that, again today, what's going on with David De Gea's distribution as a whole? What is going on with David De Gea as a player, as a goalkeeper, who's no longer got the game or the ability to be the first number one choice? We need a David Raya. We need that Diego Costa of Porto. We need 2 world-class goalkeepers brought in next season. We need 2. Not 1, we need 2. And if Sir Jim Ratcliffe comes in, God fucking help us all. And I applaud every Man United fan today for what you did, because you have taken the right thing and you've done the right thing. You've got the protests and you've done them. But I'm still angry with fans that are glazer out, who go and buy the shirt and go and buy the kit and still go and watch the games. Even season ticket holders, you've got no right doing it. If you're Man United fans, you put your foot down and say no. Because I have not brought anything regarding Man United this season. Because I am so fed up with the ownership. I've put my foot down and said, no, I'm not doing this to myself this season. They have got to be gone before I put any money anywhere near back this football club. I'm not doing it until those clueless twats have gone. We need the Qataris. That's the only hope. Don't let the Sir Jim Ratcliffe bid be successful. Because the Sir Jim Ratcliffe and the Glazers are both here. Could you imagine the destruction of this club? Could you imagine how worse this is going to get? And if it does get worse, we are fucking doomed. We are really, really doomed. And I think after those players will see that doomsday coming and they'll think to themselves, do you know what? I'm out of here. Because they will not want to be part of this mess that I think is going to incur if these clueless owners go and get Jim Ratcliffe's bid accepted. And if they do it, then we're in big trouble. We are in big, big trouble. And Man United have got only themselves to blame. And if they want to do that, be my guest. But fans like me, you, every Man United fan in the world will walk away. But we don't want to walk away because we have so much love and respect for this club, but not the way it's being run by clueless owners and clowns that have got no idea how to run a football club or even sell it. We've been led on. Even Sir Jim Ratcliffe has praised the Glazers saying they're great owners. They've done a great job. No, they haven't. Open your fucking clueless eyes and look at the mess and look at the destruction they have caused. They are the big, big problem. And you're wanting to become part of that problem by buying the club and being part of the Glazer 2.0 snake brigade. And Man United fans will not have it if he comes in. We will not get back to top anywhere near. We won't have a good summer transfer window. We'll buy 1 or 2 players and that will be it. And we've got to be careful for financial fair play. And don't they start using that as an excuse. Because I know Man United deep down have got money to spend in the summer. Don't believe all these blue tick people, especially the Sky Sports crew brigade, like Melissa Reddy, Carve Solikol, Dharma Chef, who say, well, Man United are going to have to reduce their spending in the summer. They've got to stick with the financial fair play rules. No, we don't. Stop leaking lies and PR stunts from that club to get your brigade percentage and ego up even more your ass, because Man United do not need to sell to buy in the summer. Man United haven't got to be careful financial fair play. It is a complete and utter load of bollocks. We have got fuckloads to spend in the summer. We've only got that if the Qataris come in, and we've got to make it happen. We have got to force the Glazers, and we're going to have to force the Qataris to up their bid. If they are serious about buying this football club, you are going to have to overbid to buy the club. If the Qataris love the club as much as what we think they do, they need to put the bid over what the Glazers are asking for. If the Glazers are asking for 6 billion, go and give them the 6 billion. If you offer them the 7, I think they would take. I am begging the Qataris, please come and save us. We do not want destruction 2.0 under Sir Jim Ratcliffe with the Glazers, because Man United will become even more of a mess. And that is going to take the whole sparkle off this today. With the news that this bid's going to happen, it's going to get accepted. Sir Jim Ratcliffe's going to be the owner. God fucking help us all. Because I tell you what, Man United won't get back to the top. We will be nowhere near successful next season. Man United will become a car crash. And we're literally having to rely on the manager to get the best out of a shit squad. That is the bigger picture from today. If Sir Jim Ratcliffe comes in, 2.0 destruction occurs. Because that is what will happen. He will just be another Glazer in. And the Glazers will stay. Do we really want that? No. But Man United fans, if you've got kids, brothers, sisters, daughters, parents, nephews, cousins, brother-in-laws, sister-in-laws, daughter-in-laws, every part of your family member, tell them to put their foot down and stop investing money into this club, because they're becoming part of the Glazer in brigade. They're becoming part of the Glazer in fanboys. If they glaze out but still spend money, they are fucking massively two-faced. They've got no right buying the kit, no buying a shirt. If they need to, some Man United fans in this fan base need to be sat down and fucking educated. You do not spend money if your Glazers out. Don't put money into the club. Don't spend any money on this club because they don't deserve it anyway. And stop relishing the leeches that this club is owned by. Because those snakes that are weaving through the grass by the Glazers, right? I do not want them taking any more money out of this club. Enough's enough. And Sir Jim Ratcliffe will do exactly the same destruction the Glazers have done today. He'll do exactly the same disaster. What the Glazers are. He'll take money out of the club and he'll borrow money just to buy the club altogether. We cannot let that happen. If it happens, I'm done. Seriously, I am done. Do you know what? At the end of the day, this depends on what Man United do here. Fans need to be educated. We need to go back to school. Sit every Man United fan down in a big concert venue and a big venue of some sort and educate them to a fucking lesson on how to be a proper Man United fan by not spending money, not buying a shirt, not buying a kit. Don't give Glazers the satisfaction that they want, because all you're doing is putting money into the club. They're taking it out and they're rubbing their hands together, laughing at you because you have fallen for the vulnerability that those leeches have become. That's the big problem from today. If Sir Jim Ratcliffe bid comes in and is accepted, we are fucked. That is the bigger picture from today. But at least we've won the game, and at least we've won the game due to our leader and the captain that is sat down all those haters and criticisers today and those doubters. Bruno Fernandes is the leader in that team. He's the captain. He's the role model. He's the inspiration. He's the hero and the person you go to for confidence. There's the guy who gets you goals in the midfield. There is the guy who's probably now a legend of this football club. There is a player in there that actually cares and gives a shit, who fights for the badge, who fights for the shirt, gets the goals we need and gets the goal that we need to win against Villa today. That goal Without him today, that Aston Villa game ends 0-0. Without Fernandes, Man United would be nowhere near top 4, nowhere near Champions League football. Look at the bigger picture. With Fernandes in that team, we are fucking fantastic. Without him, we are stuck to a McDonald's main menu item in their restaurant. We're stuck to a McFred in Mctominay and Fred. What would you rather have? I think I know what I'd have, but that is why Fernandes got my man of the match. He wins the game, he gets a goal and controlled that game throughout the whole match. So I hope you enjoyed the reaction. Hit the like button, the share button. Please keep subscribing to the channel if you're new. We're only 18 single subscribers away from 600. Please, every moderator I have, every person that's subscribed, please spread the word about this channel. Let's get it past 600 and aim before the end of this year for 700. That is the aim, is to get to 700 dead on by the end of this year. So share the video, tweet button, retweet button, put the notification bell all time as well. Go and check out my other socials. I'm on Twitter, I'm on TikTok, and also join me for tomorrow afternoon for the Brighton preview for the game on Thursday night between Brighton and Man United. The Premier League preview will be live tomorrow afternoon between Brighton and Manchester United. Join me for that preview tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday evening. Enjoy this brand new week that is coming in May. Brand new week, first week in May. Bank holiday Monday tomorrow as well. Enjoy that day. Stay safe. Be nice. Be kind to each other. I've got one thing to say about Bruno Fernandes. Bruno. He played with Cristiano. Bruno. He scored another goal. Come on, United. Come on, you Reds. Thanks for watching.